Oh, what's our opening?
Hine Matov.
Okay.
Whichever Louie plays, we sing.
Exactly.
Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to the temple for Shabbat evening services. We invite you to reach out across the distance to bridge that gap between us as we join together in welcoming Shabbat. If you have a copy of Mishkan Tefillah, our prayer book this evening, you can follow along in the service. If not, there is a flip book version in the description of our YouTube channel. We hope you'll join us in the prayers, in the songs, or just sit back and relax and enjoy the welcoming of Shabbat. May the words we share and the prayers we speak enter your hearts and your homes with the blessing of Shabbat peace. Our opening song is Hine Matov, how good it is and how wondrous when a community can gather as one. Page 10.
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת עמים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת עמים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יא לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יא לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, יא לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת עמים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת עמים גם יחד.
We begin with a special prayer that leads us into the candles and Kiddush for the Sabbath. Dear God, we ask that you be there for us, as you were for our ancestors, a pillar in our midst. Help us to turn to you, O God, for guidance during these troubled times. Give us strength for the week ahead. Help us to reach out in love and compassion to one another, to support those who are ill, unable to leave their homes, or who are struggling financially. Be with our doctors and caregivers, our nurses and scientists, as they are working to develop a cure and care for those who are ill. Be with all who are ill and their families, offering them your compassion, and we pray your healing. Be with our leaders, guide them to wise decisions in these troubling times. Be with us, O God. Help us to find the inner strength to be patient when our nerves seem tested. Be our still waters when we are surrounded by fear and anxiety. Be our rock to whom we can turn and give our worry and our fears. Be our shelter, guide our steps, keep us safe. Help us to feel your presence in these times of change. As we light the candles of this Shabbat, each in our own homes, may our kindled lamps, each its own point of light, join as the stars of heaven, a community together welcoming your Shabbat peace, your Shabbat love, your Shabbat joy into our homes, your day of rest that together we welcome more than ever before. It's now my pleasure to invite Elijah Peppers and his family to lead us in the lighting of the candles for Shabbat and Kiddush for the sweetness of Shabbat from their home to yours.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו אשר להדליקנו Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai God, sovereign of the universe, who houses us with mitzvot, commanding to handle the light of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lihadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam praise you, the divine.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen.
We continue our service on page 9 at the bottom of the page. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat which unites us in faith and in hope, for Shabbat holiness which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and of love. We offer thanks and blessings, O God. Please turn to page 20 for L'cha Dodi.
L'cha Dodi, likrot kala, b'nei Shabbat, nikabla. L'cha Dodi, likrot kala, b'nei Shabbat, nikabla. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom u'mivorach. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom u'mivorach.
We rise now on page 28 for the Baruch Hu.
Baruch hu et Adonai, hamivorach, hamivorach. Baruch Adonai, hamivorach, le'olam, le'olam va'ed. Praised be the one whom our praise is due. Praised be the one whom our praise is due. Praised be the one to whom our praise is due, now and forever.
Lai, lai, la, la, lai, lai, la, lai, lai, la, lai, lai, ai, lai, la, lai, lai, ai, la, lai, 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 ai, lai, la, lai, lai, ai, la, lai, la, la, lai, lai, ai, lai, 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 lai.
Lai, 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 lai,
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars and the heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. Page 33. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean my struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Please be seated.
And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you on this day shall be upon your heart, shall be upon your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and when you rise up, and you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be for frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house, and upon your gates, and upon your gates, that you may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
Page 36. Please join us in the Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha. V'hayu hadvarim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha. V'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam. V'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'aderech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha. U'kshartam le'ot al yadecha. V'hayu letotofot beinenecha. Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there's a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there's no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora te'ilot osef ele, osef ele. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Sing the song of men and women, joined in understanding and respect. The song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, a song of peace. We continue at the bottom of page 43. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth, prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, aleinu va'al kol amo Yisrael, va'al Yerushalayim. Yismachu, bottom of page 44.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת.
במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. והשביעי רצית בו, רצית בו וקידשת שבת. חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת זכר למעשה וראשית שבת זכר למעשה וראשית שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. We rise for the tefillah, our prayer. Na 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 Adonai na 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 svatai tiftach na 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 ufi agid tehilatecha na 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 Adonai na 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 svatai tiftach na 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 ufi agid tehilatecha na 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 Adonai na 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 svatai tiftach na 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 ufi agid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Harorah, El Elyon. Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Koneh Hakol v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot. Umevi Geula Livnei v'Nehem, L'Ma'an Shemo ba'Ahava. Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, God of our fathers and mothers, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, and God of Jacob, God of Sarah, God of Rebekah, God of Rachel, and God of Leah, the great, mighty, and awesome God, transcendent God, who bestows loving kindness, creates everything out of love, remembers the love of our fathers and our mothers, and brings redemption to their children's children for the sake of the divine name. Sovereign, deliverer, helper, and shield. Blessed are you, Adonai, Sarah's helper, Abraham's shield. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. You are forever mighty, Adonai. You give life to all. You cause wind to shift and rain to fall. You sustain life through love, giving life to all. Through great compassion, supporting the fallen, healing the sick, freeing the captive, keeping faith with those who sleep in the dust. Who is like you, source of mighty acts? Who resembles you, a sovereign who takes and gives life, causing deliverance to spring up and faithfully giving life to all? Blessed are you, Adonai, who gives life to all. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh Hakol. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. We turn to page 61 for our prayer for peace. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul. And may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamvorech et amo Yisrael, b'shalom.
Shalom Rama, Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rama, Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam.
Take a moment now for silent prayer. Turn now to page 253. In the middle of the page, you'll find the prayer Mishaberach, a prayer for a broken world, in seek of wholeness and holiness. May these words bring us closer to one another and remind us of our ability to heal the world with our hands and our hearts and our acts of righteousness. We ask God's blessing on all who are ill, all who are in need, for our world, for our nation, for our community, and for our homes. Please join us in these words of healing, Mishaberach.
Mishaberach Avoteinu Mekor Abraha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mekor habracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing, with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
We turn now to page 244 for Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the service for the reading of the Torah. You rise.
In kamocha va Elohim Adonai, in kimasecha, malchutecha, malchut halamim, umemshaltecha bikol dor vador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai oz le'amo yitin, Adonai yivarich et amo v'shalom. Adonai yivarich et amo v'shalom.
In this scroll is a secret of our people's life from Sinai until now. Its teaching is love and justice, goodness and hope. Freedom is its gift to all who treasure it. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Our God is one, Adonai is great, holy is God's name.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Lecha Adonai HaGedolah v'HaGivura v'HaTiveret v'HaNetzach v'HaHod. Ki kol bashamayim u'va'aretz, ki kol bashamayim u'va'aretz. Lecha Adonai hamamlacha v'hamidnasi lichol lirosh.
If you're standing, you can be seated. We have a special treat this evening as we are starting again the reading of the Torah with the very opening words. This is Shabbat Bereshit. We'll be doing a Torah reading and a drash this evening, even though it's Friday night. Please join me on page 250 as we bless the reading of the Torah.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam vahed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
So it's easy to find if you're following along in a Bible. Genesis chapter 1, verse 1.
Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Ve'haaretz hayta tohu vavohu ve'choshech al pnei tehom ve'ruach Elohim mirachefet al pnei hamayim. Vayomer Elohim yehi or vayhi or. Vayar Elohim et haor ki tov, vayavdel Elohim בין האור ובין החושך, ויקרא אלוהים לאור יום ולחושך קרא לילה, ויהי ערב ויהי בוקר יום אחד.
And that means, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was unformed and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God hovered over the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light that it was good, and God separated between the light and between the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness God called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, one day. And so, we begin again, at the beginning. This week's Torah portion, Bereshit, begins our annual journey through the Torah with the beginning of the Torah. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. But there are many ways to consider where the Torah actually begins, if by beginning we mean more than simply what are the first words on the first page of the Torah. The Torah is more than a book or a collection of laws. The Torah tells the story of our beginnings as a people. The Torah is our covenant with God, our path towards the building of a just and righteous world, and our just selves within it. The Torah, we are told, existed before time and space. The Torah was the blueprint of God's creation. So as we read this Shabbat, these first words of the Torah, and begin again our annual cycle of the Torah readings, it seems an appropriate time to ask ourselves the larger question of what is the beginning of the Torah, by which I mean what is its purpose? Why do we read these words round and round each year? Or more specifically, what is the greatest principle in all of the Torah? Its grounding principle, through which we can understand our purpose, God's purpose, and the purpose of Torah itself. As, for example, when we will return the Torah to the Ark after reading it tonight or on any Shabbat, we will say the words, "It is a tree of life to those who hold fast to it, and all its paths are peace." That is to say, the Torah begins and ends with shalom, with peace, and this is its greatest principle. But is this the beginning and the end of that question? This is not a new question. Hillel, the great Babylonian sage from 2 millennia ago, was famously asked by a heathen to teach him the entire Torah while standing on one foot. Hillel answered, "What is hateful to you, do not do to your neighbor." That is the whole Torah. The rest is commentary. Go and learn. The golden rule. That, for Hillel, was the beginning of the Torah. The rest is commentary. Go and learn. The great scholar Rabbi Akiva, who followed after Hillel, said that the greatest principle in all of the Torah is to love your neighbor as yourself, a more positive rendering of Hillel's golden rule, which is chosen from the heart of the Torah, the holiness code, which is found directly in the middle of the scroll. But it was a more humble scholar of the same ancient age, named Simeon ben Azai, who chose instead a lesser-known verse from this week's Torah portion, Genesis 5, verse 1, as the place where the Torah begins. Ben Azai said that the greatest principle in all the Torah is, this is the line of the generations of Adam. When God created Adam, God made that first human being in God's own likeness. It's an odd choice, I know. The beginning of one of the many begats in the Bible, the part we usually skip over, which simply begins a long list of the genealogy of some biblical character whose story is about to be told. But this isn't just any genealogy. This is the line of the very first human soul. So this is the beginning of us all. And that, I believe, is Ben Azai's purpose in choosing this verse as the first and greatest principle of the Torah. For Ben Azai, the Torah begins with the recognition that we are all the descendants of one human family, and each of us carries within us a certain likeness of the divine. We are all God's children, the creations of God's own hands. And when we see each other in this way, there can be no greater principle for the Torah to teach or for us to learn. I'm not sure really if there's an ultimate answer to the question of what is the beginning of the Torah. But Banazai's words strike me as a lesson well suited for this moment in time, when we are so intent on seeing the differences between us, rather than the common humanity which all unites us as well. Or perhaps there is wisdom in all these words, and in the journey of Torah which we begin on Shabbat Bereshit, this Sabbath of new beginnings. Love your neighbor as yourself, for we are all the children of one eternal God. The rest is commentary. Go and learn it. The Torah is a tree of life to those who hold fast to it, and all its paths are peace. Shabbat Shalom. Please join me as we bless after the reading of the Torah.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata pitochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל. וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל. על פי אדוני ויד משה, ויד משה. על פי אדוני ויד משה, ויד משה. וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל. וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל.
We turn now to page 256 as we return the Torah to the Ark. Yahalalu et Shem Adonai ki nizgav shemo levado. Let us praise the name of Adonai, for God's name alone is exalted.
יצחיים היא למחזיקים בה ותומכיה מיושר. יצחיים היא למחזיקים בה ותומכיה מיושר. שלום, 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 שלום. It is a tree of life to them that hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. It is a tree of life to them that hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. Shalom, 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 shalom.
Our anthem for this evening is Sim Shalom. You can find it on page 140.
Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Chin v'chesed v'rachamim. Chin v'chesed v'rachamim. V'rachamim ועל כל ישראל. עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עמך שים שלום טובה וברכה. שים שלום טובה וברכה.
We continue with the Aleinu, which can be found on page 283. Let us adore the ever-living God and render praise unto you who spreads out the heavens and established the earth, whose glory is revealed in the heavens above, and whose greatness is manifest throughout the world. You are our God, there is none else. Continue at the bottom of page 291. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with the people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways that we remember. This week in our congregation, we remember particularly the names of Lonnie Nafuzi and Marianne Morgulin, Sylvia Steinberg Waller, David Frank Morgulis, Augusta Lang, Dottie Bass, Louis Brownstein, Lawrence Richard D., Ida England, Edward Sagg, David Feynman, Samuel Jacobson, Jacob Carl Turk, Ruth Gerstein, Lois Joseph, Leon Blumenson, William B. Hummel, Helene Zukoff, Nettie Tostein, Irving Koslow, Ann Seligman Court, Sidney Dichter, Hortense Platoff Sandow, Morris Perlmutter, Harriet Spiegel, Dorothy Wasserman, Harry Klein, Max Rosenberg, Edna Hyman Schuster, Lillian Gordon Shine, Ruth Zucker, Jacob Maurice Bleeden, Samuel Berg, Ronald Sternberg, Samuel S. Turk, Doreen Myers, Jack H. Siegel, Stephen N. Goodman, Henry Frank, Adele Wellinkin, Miriam Davidson, Esther Flihal, Mary Davidson Rudd, and Irving Ehrman. Zichronam livracha. May their names live on in memory as we share together these words of Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, balma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon v'yomechon u'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, bagala uvizman kari v'imru amen. Yehesh mei Rabba mevorach le'olam olmei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudisha b'rechu, le'lo min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, Damiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shloma rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And we say together, amen. Please join us in our closing song, Oseh Shalom. The last 3 lines of Kaddish, may the one who makes peace in high heavens help us to make peace here on earth.
Ose shalom bin Roma, Uya'aseh shalom aleinu, Ve'al kol Yisrael, Ve'imeru Amen. Ose shalom bin Roma, Uya'aseh shalom aleinu, Ve'al kol Yisrael, Ve'imru Amen. Ose shalom bimroma, Uya'aseh shalom aleinu, Ve'al kol Yisrael, Ve'imeru Amen. Ose shalom bimroma, Uya'aseh shalom aleinu, Ve'al kol Yisrael, Ve'imru Amen. Ve'imru
Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, our mothers and fathers from generations long ago. God of all the generations of Israel, be our help. May your blessing of shalom, wholeness, and peace descend upon us like a cleansing rain, bringing us hope and drawing us towards holiness in our lives and in the life of your people throughout the world. Bless us with courage to face the challenges of our day, with wisdom to heal the sick, courage to strive for justice and for peace, and compassion always for those who are in need. Bless us all and those we love with the blessing of Shabbat peace. Adonai oz la'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. May God grant strength to our people. May God grant strength to all people. Shalom. Shabbat shalom.